Hello, everyone. We're very excited to have you join us tonight. We're going to get started in about another minute here. Just give a little more time for people to join in. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to the 59th Annual Quad City Engineering and Science Council STEM Celebration. My name is Austin Logan, and I serve as the president of QCESC. We're sorry to not be doing this event in person this year, but still glad to have so many of you join us. Over the last few weeks, I've been trying to morph into a YouTube live streamer for this event as well. You'll see me looking away here some as I'm trying to keep our stream going too. So hopefully everything works out well. A big shout out goes to our board as well for all the work they've put in to prepare for hosting a virtual event. We're excited for a lot of new ideas we've implemented in the event this year with being virtual, many of which we hope to continue as we go back to an in-person event as well. If you have questions or comments throughout the event, please use the comment section on the YouTube live feed and our board members will pay attention and reply. Here is our agenda for tonight's event. We expect to finish by about 8 p.m. depending on questions. I'll now hand off to our president-elect, Beth Allmark, to kick us off. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Beth Allmark and I am the president-elect for QCESC. We hold this event every year during Engineers Week to celebrate the STEM community. That is science, technology, engineering, and math. While this year has been challenging, there still have been many great STEM accomplishments to recognize, and we thank you for joining us to do so tonight. Throughout this evening, we will be honoring a special group of individuals for their contributions and achievements. Whether they are students receiving scholarships or STEM professionals and educators being recognized for their hard work, each of them, along with many others, are advancing STEM throughout our region. We recognize them for their contributions at companies, agencies, and in the classroom. We also recognize and are appreciative of their volunteer service to the STEM community. Many participate in events such as FIRST, or by volunteering to mentor students and teams, or by being active members of a professional society, or by teaching students in classrooms, or by learning and training for a STEM career. The individuals we will recognize tonight represent just a small portion of a much larger group who are promoting STEM through their professions and their volunteerism. In a normal year, we've been able to engage nearly 400 volunteers and impact over 5,000 individuals. Be sure to use the hashtag QCESC if you share anything about tonight's event. QCESC partners with regional companies, school systems, organizations, and professional societies. These partners provide volunteers, funds, venues, and support in many ways so that QCESC can carry out our mission with STEM events, scholarships, awards, and communications. This slide shows the various entities who help us, and we are so grateful for their help. Throughout a normal year, QCESC partners on many STEM activities and events in the area, and you can see pictures of those events on this slide. They include the QC Tech Challenge, which is comprised of 3 events: the Battle of the Bridges, Trebuchet Egg Toss, and the Cardboard Boat Regatta. It also includes FIRST robotic competitions, kickoffs and mentoring, STEM teacher nights out, STEM festivals, engineering kids camp, and networking events among professionals in the community. All of these events touch thousands of young minds and need great volunteers and partners. Speaking of volunteers, I would like to recognize our QCESC officers and board members. They've all put a lot of hard work into making this event and many others a success. Thanks also to our past board members whose dedication has enabled our success. We are always looking for new members to join us at QCESC. We currently have an opening on our board for a STEM coordinator position. Please reach out to us if you're interested or want to learn more. I'm now going to hand this off to our fundraising chair, Josh Bump, who will talk about our sponsors.
Hi, my name is Joshua Bump, and I'm the fundraising chair for QCESC. As an alum of First Tech Challenge, I've seen firsthand how much of an impact QCESC has made on local students. QCESC is a strong partner of First and has even provided multiple scholarships over the years to alumni of First. QCESC has also hosted various events and competitions for different teams in First in the Quad City area. Without the sponsors of QCESC, they would not be able to make as much of an impact on students locally. I would first like to thank our gold sponsors for helping us with this year's STEM celebration. We are very appreciative of all our gold sponsors that are listed here on this slide. Next, we would like to thank our silver sponsors. We are extremely grateful of their generosity, and all of these sponsors are listed on this slide. Finally, we would like to thank our bronze sponsors. We are appreciative of all of their generosity, and the bronze sponsors are listed on this slide. Once again, we would like to thank all of our generous sponsors for helping with this year's STEM celebration. Thanks to them, we are able to offer QCESC scholarships, and we are able to fund this event.
QCESC has supported its scholarship program for 28 years, starting with one scholarship in 1994. Periodically, we get a chance to follow up on past scholarship recipients and see how they have progressed towards their goals. It is my pleasure now to introduce one of our past scholarship recipients from 2015, Caleb Hoffman.
Hello, my name is Caleb Hoffman. I graduated from high school in 2015 and I was a QCESC scholarship recipient. Now I graduated from college in 2019 from Iowa State University with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and worked for John Deere in Ankeny, Iowa. Any advice that I have for you graduating high school this year and going into college would be to really study hard, but also learn how to meet new people and put yourself out there to have fun. Some of the memories you'll make in college are going to be some of your best, and some of the friends you make are going to be some of your best friends going throughout time. So as you continue to go through college, focus on your studies, but also focus on having a little bit of fun along the way.
Thanks, Caleb. The QCESC Scholarship Program was set up to encourage students in the pursuit of STEM degrees. The first scholarship was awarded in 1994 to a single student from Bettendorf High School. This is the 28th year that the QCSC has provided scholarships. Including this year, we have provided 191 scholarships, valued at over $300,000. The scholarships are all made possible by generosity of our professional society partners, universities, Exelon, and our QCESC event sponsors. 10 of the scholarships are directly supported by partners. 4 of the scholarships are supported by QCESC event sponsors, whose generosity has allowed us to award 2 more scholarships than we did last year. Thanks for your support. 2020 and 2021 have been difficult and disruptive years for these students. An essay question was added this year that asked, how has the pandemic affected them and what they learned from it? The students shared their loss, struggle, and strength dealing with the pandemic. As you can see from our scholarship data slide, we had an impressive and diverse group of applicants. We utilize a blind selection process based on academics, extracurricular activities, including work and community service, and leadership experience. Their essays on career goals and why they are interested in the STEM field round out the application. The applications are evaluated by a scholarship awards committee. This year, we had 58 applications from 9 counties and 22 schools. Reviewing the applications of these great students is uplifting and gives hope for their future leadership in solving the challenges they will face. The 14 students you are about to meet are a truly impressive group. The student bios on our website will give you a good idea on all the diverse activities they are involved in. In keeping with the challenges of this year, we have asked the students to introduce themselves. So here is the scholarship class of 2021.
Hello, my name is Nathan Oz, and I'm a senior at Sterling High School in Sterling, Illinois. I would first like to start off by saying thank you to the Quad City Engineering and Science Council and the University of Wisconsin-Platteville for awarding me this scholarship. By pursuing an engineering degree, this will help me achieve my dream in advancing our society to make it more productive and cost-efficient. After college, I plan on becoming a petroleum engineer.
Hi, my name is Wyatt Seiler, and I'm a senior at Central DeWitt High School. I thoroughly enjoy science and math, but also have a heart for helping others, so I plan on attending the University of Iowa this fall to major in biomedical engineering. I want to design and improve modern prosthetics, along with develop artificial organs, and one day hope to extend my impact beyond the borders of the United States. Thank you to the Quad Cities Engineering and Science Council for providing me this opportunity, and even more so, thank you to the University of Iowa for granting me this scholarship.
Hello, my name is Brady O'Neill and I'm a senior at Davenport West High School. Throughout high school, I've taken many engineering and PLTW classes that have helped me realize my passion in helping others. This fall, I plan on attending Iowa State University and majoring in engineering. My aspiration after obtaining my engineering degree is to create and build ideas to make life easier for those in need in a cost-efficient way. I'm extremely honored and thankful to the Quad City Engineering and Science Council and Iowa State University for the scholarship that was awarded, and I will strive to make the best of this opportunity.
Hello, my name is Bruce Moore, and I live in Geneseo, Illinois. I aspire to be a civil engineer after, of course, going to a 4-year college. Not sure which one yet. I'm still waiting to make my decision. But I'd like to thank the American Society of Civil Engineers. The money you've given me will really help me pursue my passion for civil engineering.
Hi, my name is Caroline Adam, and I'm a senior at Allman High School in Rock Island, Illinois. Next year, I plan on attending the University of Michigan to major in biomedical or civil engineering. Finally, I'd like to thank my sponsor, the American Society of Civil Engineers, for this great honor.
Hello, everyone. My name is Natalie Nelson, and I'm a senior at Galesburg High School in Galesburg, Illinois. This fall, I plan to attend a 4-year university and major in biochemistry on a pre-med track. I've always had a passion for helping others, and I plan to continue doing so in my career by creating innovative methods to provide best practice and participating in medical research. I want to say thank you to the Quad City Engineering and Science Council, as well as the National Defense Industrial Association for their generous scholarship. I am honored to have received it, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Aiden Gert. I'm a senior at Bettendorf High School, and I would like to thank the Exelon Corporation for this tremendous scholarship in pursuing my STEM education.
Hi, my name is Katie Anderson, and I am currently a senior at Assumption High School in Davenport, Iowa. I am truly honored to have received this scholarship, as it will aid in my journey to further my education. I plan to attend a 4-year university where I will study aerospace engineering and receive a minor in Spanish. After receiving this degree, I plan to work for an aircraft company where I will use my knowledge to design complex aircraft devices. I also plan to travel to third world countries where I will use my knowledge of engineering to impact others' lives. Thank you again to the Quad City Engineering and Science Council. I'm truly grateful for this opportunity.
Hi, my name is Chance Thrasher. I am currently a senior at West Liberty High School. My future plans are to attend Iowa State University to major in mechanical engineering and minor in finance. I would like to thank the American Society of Agricultural and Biological Engineers for sponsoring the scholarship.
My name is Dylan Klingler, and I'm a senior at Abingdon-Avon High School. This fall, 2021, I plan to attend Parkland College and study Precision Ag Technology. I'd like to thank the Quad City Engineering and Science Council for helping me to achieve my goal.
Hello, my name is Nicola Tamiva, and I am a senior at Moline High School. I feel very honored and thankful to be awarded this scholarship by the Quad City Engineering and Science Council. I aspire to become an aerospace engineer because I am fascinated with aviation, and I am very excited for the path that college will lead me so that I'm able to advance technology for the future. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Isaac Blandon, and I'm currently a senior at Central DeWitt High School. In the coming fall, I plan on attending Iowa State University to get a degree in computer hardware engineering, which is a degree which I want to pursue due to it providing an opportunity to enter the STEM field and help develop technologies and automation in a way that will make people's lives easier. Thank you to the Quad City Engineering and Science Council for providing this opportunity and helping to fund my education, which will help me achieve my career goals.
This year, we again are awarding a scholarship in memory of Jeffrey Richland. Jeffrey was a longtime member of the QCESC, holding several positions on the council, and was director at the time of his passing. Jeffrey was a driving force in the Quad City region with his passion to promote science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM, to students of all ages and all socioeconomic backgrounds. The recipient of this special $2,500 scholarship is Aditi Naknani from Pleasant Valley High School.
Hi, my name is Aditi Nachnani, and I am a senior at Pleasant Valley High School in Bettendorf, Iowa, and I'm so grateful to have received the Jeffrey Richland Memorial Scholarship. Jeffrey will forever remain close in many of our hearts. His legacy has impacted so many people in the STEM community, my robotics team being one of them. I plan to pursue computer science in the hopes of creating various machineries beyond human expertise to combat global struggles and assist those in need of aid. And this dream has been made possible because of this scholarship. Thank you once again to Jeffrey Richland Memorial Scholarship for this honor and for helping me reach one step closer to my goal. Thank you.
Congratulations to all of our scholarship winners. My name is Susan Eckert, and I'm the QCESC Awards Chair. It is my pleasure to introduce the 2021 Professional Award winners. The purpose of the QCES Awards is to pay tribute and recognize engineering and science professionals whose exceptional achievements and outstanding contributions have made a lasting impact on technology, society, and their profession. This includes helping to promote and raise the awareness of STEM education and careers in our local communities and schools. We opened nominations for these awards in December and received a large quantity of highly qualified candidates. We then assembled a distinguished group of individuals from various industries and STEM professions to review and select the winners of these prestigious awards. Our first award recognizes an outstanding engineer who is still early in their career. The recipient of the 2021 Junior Engineer of the Year Award is Matthew Wold. Matthew is an engineering supervisor for automation systems with John Deere Harvester Works in Moline. He has experience designing and field testing new concepts to improve the performance and efficiency of rotary combines, specifically grain loss monitoring and predicting crop characteristics in front of the combine using satellite imagery. He is a member of the Quad City section of the American Society of Agricultural and Biological Engineers. His nominator, Dave Smith, stated that Matthew is a leader in implementing advanced engineering concepts for John Deere combines. He actively serves at his church and is an after-school volunteer for Hope at the Brick House. Matthew holds a Bachelor of Science in Agricultural and Biosystems Engineering from North Dakota State University and a Master of Science in Agricultural Engineering from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Please congratulate Matthew for receiving the Junior Engineer of the Year Award by commenting in the chat. This next award recognizes an outstanding engineer who has contributed significantly to their profession and to their community. The recipient of the 2021 Senior Engineer of the Year Award is Roger A. Perk. Roger Perk is Chief for the Engineering and Construction Division of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Rock Island. He has provided services for projects at 20 lock and dam sites, 3 major flood control reservoirs, and 800 plus miles of flood control measures. Roger was a part of overseeing the federal portion of the Cedar Rapids Flood Control Project and deployment to New York City following Superstorm Sandy. Roger serves as Vice President for the Society of American Military Engineers, through which he has given multiple presentations. In addition, he has volunteered as a crew member for Habitat for Humanity and is an active member of his church. Roger's nominator, Thomas Heinold, states that he has served our community and our nation as a civil engineering leader, working on inland navigation, environmental sustainability, and flood risk management projects that provide critical safety, security, and sustainability for our citizens, as well as significant economic benefits. He has a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from the University of Nebraska and a Master of Science in Civil and Environmental Engineering from the University of Wisconsin. Be sure to offer your congratulations in the comments to Roger for receiving the Senior Engineer of the Year Award. This next award recognizes a scientist who is early in their career. The recipient of the 2021 Junior Engineer of the Year Award is Ellie Wilder. Ellie Wilder is a Geographic Information Systems Analyst for Stanley Consultants. She creates and manages comprehensive geodatabases, coordinates with engineers on data collection, and educates members on the efficiencies of GIS and mobile data collection. Stanley Consultants' use of mobile data technology has increased substantially because of Ellie. Ellie's community activities include the Hawkeye Area Community Action Plan Adopt a Family program, as well as Friends of Hickory Hill. Ellie has big plans to become a GIS ambassador, since her discovery of GIS in college ultimately changed the direction of her career from visual artist to scientist. Ellie joined Stanley Consultants in 2018 and hit the ground running. She quickly became the company's Geographic Information Systems champion, demonstrating to coworkers, project managers, and management how GIS technology can improve project effectiveness and efficiencies. Thanks to Ellie, the company's use of mobile data technology has increased substantially. GIS is now being used on a regular basis for projects across the company. Ellie earned a Bachelor of Arts in Environmental Policy and Planning with a Geographic Information Science minor from the University of Iowa. Fill the chat with congratulations to Ellie for receiving the Junior Scientist of the Year Award. The next award recognizes an outstanding educator in the field of STEM. The recipient of the 2021 STEM Teacher of the Year Award is Michael Carton. Michael Carton serves as the Director of Education and Outreach for WQPT in Moline. He developed and implemented a one-of-a-kind classroom outreach program that teaches students in kindergarten through third grade how to code. Michael has authored many publications and earned numerous awards recognizing his significant contributions to the education profession as well as our community. Michael's STEM activities include coaching First LEGO League Challenge and Explore teams, and serving as a LEGO Education Ambassador. He is a Mississippi Valley Regional Blood Center donor, Big Brothers Big Sisters Big, Villa Montessori board member, National Defense Industrial Association board member, and Quad City Family Focus magazine contributor. Michael earned a Bachelor of Education from Western Illinois University. Let's share our congratulations with Michael for receiving the STEM Teacher of the Year Award. We have literally hundreds of volunteers who help at the many events supported by the QCESC. All of them deserve recognition and thanks for their donation of time and talent and for being exemplary role models for students. While we had many great candidates for the 2021 STEM Volunteer of the Year Award, our award this year goes to Robin Willick. Robin is an electrical systems engineer at the John Deere Global Crop Harvesting Product Development Center in East Moline. She enthusiastically supports multiple FIRST Robotics Competition, FIRST Tech Challenge, and FIRST LEGO Robotics League competitions. Robin has volunteered for Logan Science Night, Discover E Academy, Jane Addams STEM Night, and the QC STEM Festival. She is a member of the Society of Women Engineers and has participated in Introduce a Girl to Engineering events. Robin earned a Bachelor of Science in System Engineering from the University of New Haven, Connecticut. Let's all congratulate Robin in the chat below for being chosen for the STEM Volunteer of the Year Award. Our next award is our most prestigious one, as it recognizes an individual for their contributions to industry and the community over a long period of time. The recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award is Dr. William F. Pratt. Dr. William Pratt's career spans over 50 years. He is director for the School of Engineering at Western Illinois University. Starting with 6 students in August of 2009, Dr. Pratt developed and expanded an ABET-accredited multidisciplinary engineering program at the Quad Cities campus. He has not only been the director, but professor, advisor, and recruiter for the School of Engineering. Dr. Pratt has a long history of civic engagement, building broad coalitions between community leaders, businesses, scientific and engineering communities, and education, yielding great benefits for all involved. He is a member of the Society of Advanced Materials and Process Engineering and a member of the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. Dr. Pratt has authored Air Force technical reports, delivered conference proceedings across our nation, and he has filed multiple US patents. Dr. Pratt earned a Bachelor of Science in Engineering Management from the US Military Academy. He went on to complete a Master of Science in Engineering Management and a Doctor of Philosophy in Mechanical Engineering, both from Brigham Young University, Utah. Now we'll hear a few words from our Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Dr. William Pratt.
I found out a week ago, last Thursday, that I've been selected for a Lifetime Achievement Award by the Quad City Engineering and Science Council. Pam Young, my office manager, was the one who nominated me last year, but in her words, they picked someone else. I guess this year, due to the pandemic, they don't have anyone else, so you win. We both had a good laugh about it. They want me to talk for no more than 5 minutes. We'll see if I last that long. I want to thank the Quad City Engineering and Science Council for this great honor. I am humbled and deeply appreciative. But I have to tell you, like every great endeavor in life, this honor belongs to all of you, to the students, teachers, parents, retired engineers who have helped us by mentoring our students, and by the many foundations and charitable organizations that gave generously to the Western Illinois University School of Engineering for scholarships, equipment, and laboratories. We literally could not have done it without you, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. This morning at 0400 hours, as I lay there wondering what I'd talk about, I started to take inventory of the things that I've been able to do in my life and concluded that 5 minutes after I'm gone, no one will be able to see anything that will indicate that I was ever here. That's not an indictment of the importance of what has been done, but rather an acknowledgement that life goes on. After graduating from the United States Military Academy at West Point in 1970, my classmates and I did all the hoo-ah stuff, like airborne, ranger, and in my case, armored cavalry stuff. We were all cocky, headstrong, and involved. It was a time of turmoil in the United States and the military, and it would have been easy to be discouraged. That's when I started to develop the philosophy that whatever our successes in life, they were fleeting. Was it all vain? That's when I realized that the only lasting accomplishment was and is the difference that we make in other people's lives. Whether or not we realize it, we spend most of our time teaching or being taught by the people we meet along the way. I learned so much from my soldiers as a young lieutenant, even more when I was a teacher at the end of my career, when I had the honor of administering the oath of office and commissioning 138 new lieutenants in the Army. I administered the last oaths 31 years ago, but I still hear from some of the men and women I worked with and watched with interest their rise and accomplishments. Over the past 31 years since then, I worked in industry, created my own companies, patented 6 inventions, and starting 12 years ago, was honored to become the founding director of the Western Illinois University School of Engineering. Along the way, I continued to learn and occasionally teach. I picked up a habit in the military of praying for inspiration every day, and the past 12 years have been no different. My constant prayer each day has been that I would be able to teach effectively, impart knowledge, and somehow bless the lives of the men and women working so hard to learn the profession of engineering. For the most part, we seem to have been successful. It's a difficult path, and we've never sugarcoated it for our students. I remember one student of mine who, upon leaving a chapter test in mechanical design, remarked, "I wish someone would have told me I'd have to do statics and strength of materials for the rest of my life. I would have studied." I can report that this young man is now much more appreciative of having been refined in the furnace of our program and is thriving in the world of engineering. We strive to be involved with our students, not only in teaching the mechanics, but in mentoring them into the profession of engineering. And we have not been alone in this. These engineering programs belong to you, to the engineers, the managers, the moms and dads of our students, and the families of our graduates. Its purpose is to make life better for all of us, to build up our society, to create jobs, and to make a difference in the lives of our people. I thought I would conclude by reading a rare, sometimes very rare, thank you note from one of our recent graduates. Dear Dr. Pratt, thank you for building the WIU program up to what it is. I believe that the education I received was a great value and has opened many doors for me. I also appreciate your teaching of Mechanical Design 1. The first couple of weeks I was like, this is BS. How does he expect us to get all this done? And what is his obsession with Excel? Well, those first couple of weeks were tough and it didn't get a whole lot better. However, I began to trust that you had our best interest in mind and were trying to cram as much as you could into our little brains in the limited time that you had with us. And you did have a heart and a sense of humor. And as it turns out, real engineers do use Excel often. And we did leave with a toolbox that can be used in the future. In fact, I was just doing bearing calculations in Excel last week. So thank you for your dedication to the program as well as your role as a professor. And also, thanks for your years of service. I wish you and the program the best. Notes like this make my heart happy. To the many people who have taught me along the way, and to the people of this great region who have supported us and sent us their sons and daughters, I say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Make a difference in someone's life every day if you can. I know you've made a difference in my life. Thank you.
Let's thank Dr. Pratt for all his contributions over the years and congratulate him in the chat for winning the prestigious Lifetime Achievement Award. The QCESC would like to extend our sincere thanks to these extraordinary STEM professionals for their participation on this year's award selection committee.
Hi, my name is Dan D'Alessandro, and I am the Professional Development Coordinator. I am pleased to present the 2021 QCESC Society of the Year Award to the American Society of Civil Engineers Quad Cities section. ASCE is a society of professionals that plan, design, construct, and operate our infrastructure needs while protecting and restoring our natural environment. ASCE has a long-time association with QCESC. Both organizations plan and co-lead one of the premier annual STEM events, the Battle of the Bridges. Each year, volunteers organize this fun competition where schools and family teams design and build bridges made from sticks and glue. The teams learn how to make strong structures while having a lot of fun. The ASCE Quad City section has approximately 200 members. Its current president is Sarah Somsky from Terracon. If you are interested, ASCE will be holding a joint technical conference with the Society of American Military Engineers tomorrow, and its next section meeting will be on March 17th. Congratulations to the ASCE Quad City section.
For the 2021 President's Award of Merit, it is my honor to recognize someone who contributes greatly to STEM in the Quad Cities and beyond. This person has reached far beyond his responsibilities in various volunteer roles. He has greatly impacted STEM in the community through his guidance leading QCESC as well as other organizations, linking together problem solvers everywhere he goes. Please join me in congratulating Dan D'Alessandro for his great contributions. Dan has pioneered new relationships with industrial partners as well as professional societies, led a skilled trades initiative, and in every area helped QCESC reach new levels far beyond his role required. Much of the relationship building you saw at the start of the event with our sponsors, as well as our connections with professional societies like Dan just shared with the previous award, comes directly from Dan's hard work. I hope he isn't going anywhere soon, but the reality is his impact on QCESC, with the connections he's linked together, will last far after his involvement on the board. Dan earned a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from Northwestern University and an MBA from University of Northern Iowa. Dan retired from John Deere in 2016. Please use the comments to commend his great efforts. I'll now hand off to Andrea Fitzpatrick, our Communications Chair, to present our ethical professional chapters. Thank you.
My name is Andrea Fitzpatrick. I am the current Communications Chair and the Node Supervisor for Iowa Node 3, the Quad Cities Engineering and Science Council's official Pledge of the Computing Professional node. I am here to give you a brief summary of the history and updates for both of our professional ethics chapters. To start with a bit of history, the Pledge of the Computing Professional is an organization that was founded in 2011, inspired by Order of the Engineer. Both organizations were inspired by the concept and ceremony of the oath, generally attributed to Hippocrates, taken by medical graduates. The goal is to organize and manage ceremonies for their constituents, both to experience this rite of passage and to take an oath to serve their respective professions both honorably and ethically. Notably, there are no annual dues or meetings, and initiates receive a symbol and certificate to remind them of their oath. For the pledge, the symbol is a lapel pin with the word honor encoded in ASCII binary. For Order of the Engineer, it is a stainless steel ring that is worn on the fifth finger of the working hand. Our pledge node was chartered at our last STEM celebration in 2020 with 2 initial members. Our Order of the Engineer link was formed in 2011 and has initiated 33 professionals since then. It is now my honor to introduce and congratulate our most recent Pledge of the Computing Professional initiates, who participated in our second official induction ceremony. Ray Parrish, Chris Kenoyer, Lori Brown, and Nama Ganesh. Thank you for your time and attention.
We hope you're enjoying the event so far. It's my pleasure at this time to introduce our keynote speaker, Kim Pastega. Kim grew up in the Quad Cities, graduated from Iowa State University with a degree in aerospace engineering, and now works at Boeing in Seattle. I think she actually happens to be in the Quad Cities tonight, so it's too bad we're virtual this year. Kim is currently the Vice President and General Manager of Boeing Fabrication. In this role, she oversees global manufacturing sites and thousands of employees producing components for Boeing commercial and defense airplanes. Kim first joined Boeing in 1990 and has had a very successful career since then. She has been a critical part of the success of the 767, 777, and 787 programs, taking on additional responsibility with each program she worked on. She saw the 787 Dreamliner program from entry into service to being the world's highest producing twin-aisle commercial jetliner. Kim also previously led supply chain and operations for Boeing. I could spend hours listing Kim's successes and impact on Boeing and on the world. She has had an amazing career so far and continues to do so, and we're honored to have her join us tonight. As I watched the scholarship videos, I also noticed we have a few pursuing aerospace engineering, which is a neat connection to our speaker tonight. Please join me in welcoming Kim Pastega to talk about engineering grand challenges. Give me just a minute here, Kim, while I get your audio in. Okay, go ahead.
Sounds great. Austin, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Wonderful. Well, hey, I will just say thank you so very much for the kind words, and it's such an honor to be here. And as you said, I am actually here in the Quad Cities, virtual with all of you, visiting my mom here in Moline. In fact, just down the road, not too far from John Deere. I know there's quite a few John Deere participants on the call tonight. And I just wanted to offer first a huge congratulations to all of the scholarship recipients, as well as all of the professional award recipients. I can personally speak from experience that the engineering and STEM careers are some of truly the most exciting, I think, in the world. And in the business that I work in, it's fair to say that not even the sky is the limit. It's an honor to be here during Engineers Week and as part of tonight's celebration. And so, you know, in honor of that, I thought that I would talk a little bit about a theme around grand challenges in engineering. So Austin, if you could please go to the next chart. I did want to start and just introduce you a little bit. You heard a little bit about me already, but thought it would be nice to maybe provide a little bit of content or context around who I am. Because although it's been about 30 years since I've resided in the Quad Cities, my journey with STEM and with aerospace really did begin in Bettendorf. And it sounds like about 7 years that I missed an opportunity to apply for that first scholarship as I was listening in earlier on to the presentation. But frankly, you know, when I was at Bettendorf High School and growing up, had it not been for some of the experiences that I had and some of the things that were going on in the world, I don't think that I would have ended up in engineering, because I really didn't even know at that point in time what an engineer was. And there were two things I wanted to talk about, and I think it relates a little bit to, you know, the diversity and how we continue to attract people into engineering. The first is I had an amazing AP calculus teacher. Her name was Joanne Stoer. Joanne actually was, you know, a longtime teacher with Bettendorf High School, and unfortunately passed away last year. But the fact that it was a woman that was teaching AP Calculus back in the 80s made a huge impression on me. And the second, I think, is really represented in that picture, which I like to think that's a picture of me dreaming up at the sky. It's actually not. But some of you will probably recognize and know that the woman in that picture with a NASA uniform on is Krista McAuliffe. Because in 1986, when I was, thinking about what I wanted to do as I was starting to enter the world and think about college, Krista McAuliffe was very front and center. So I really do, believe strong role models are so important for helping to inspire future generations. And finally, I did hear, a couple of folks talk about Iowa State. I'm a very proud Iowa State graduate from aerospace engineering. I graduated in 1991. I'm personally also a huge football fan, so I have to tell you all that I'm really thrilled with what's been happening these last 4 or 5 years with Iowa State football. It's been pretty exciting and was glad to see that our coach got signed back on. And the last thing that I'll say here is, I do come from now, although I wasn't born into an engineering family necessarily, I am surrounded and intertwined with engineering virtually every day, as my husband also was a Boeing summer intern and aerospace engineering graduate, and my son has now followed behind my husband to Notre Dame. He's a sophomore in mechanical engineering. So this passion around engineering now runs in our family, is like what I like to say. And my daughter, who's still got a few years of high school left, well, we're still working on her to see if she decides to enter into engineering too. So if you could go next. So I wanted to just reflect on a couple of things here. I promise that I'm not going to go into great elaboration or detail about my career, but I did want to introduce you a little bit to the Boeing company, because although out in Seattle, I mean, it's a daily name and a huge part of the community, I recognize or realize that it's not quite as frequent as you would hear, John Deere or Arconic or some of the other big companies in the Quad Cities. So I want to tell you a little bit about who the Boeing company is, and then I'll just reflect on a few things so you get a little bit of a sense about my career and what I've done. The Boeing company has actually been around now. July will mark our 105th year that we have been around. I had the pleasure to start back, in our roughly our 75th year and see that celebration. It is the world's largest aerospace company and also happens to be the largest exporter for the United States. We have about 140,000 employees around the globe. About 10 to 15,000 of those are located internationally, so the vast majority are located in the United States. And maybe to appreciate the diversity of the kinds of things that we do, we have over 140 countries that our customers are diversified around the world. We do both commercial and defense parts of the aerospace sector, and also have a large part of the business that is the services that, of course, are built off of those two foundations. On the commercial side, it's the jetliners that many of you may have flown off, flown on the 737, 4767, 87, and I think I missed 777 in there sometime, are our current products, of which I've touched and worked on every single one. You can see some of them across here, but I've actually touched all of them. And then on the defense side, we do everything from, we like to say, from seabed into space. We have autonomous products that are underwater operation, military tactical aircraft and rotorcraft, as well as, programs like Commercial Crew and the Space Launch System and satellites. So really a huge variety of products that are across the entire portfolio of the aerospace and defense sector. And maybe just to give you a little bit more than Austin shared earlier, I've spent the vast majority of my career on the commercial side. But I did spend some time on both the defense sectors as well as some time at the corporate level working supply chain. From an engineering perspective, I spent the first 15 years in a variety of different engineering roles that you can kind of see on my pathway there. And I'll say that that culminated with probably one of my favorite assignments was leading the development of a new aircraft, the 777 freighter. It was the fifth and final variant of the original 777 family. The freighter is something that you would maybe see in the sky, but not necessarily come into contact with because it's a cargo carrying airplane that is primarily marketed to customers like FedEx and UPS that are flying cargo all around the world. As I go forward, I'll talk a little bit more about some of the grand challenges that I've experienced, but maybe that gives you a little bit of a variety of the things that I've done. Following engineering, I also did spend some time on two of the wide body programs helping lead the operations in what we call our final assembly operations for both the 77 and 787. And that's essentially building the jets up from about 3 million pieces that individually come together into the product that you see that finally goes out the door and ends up in the sky. We like to say, 3 million pieces flying perfectly in formation together. So that gives you just a little bit of the kinds of things that I've done over a 30-year career. I guess what I would tell you, and if you can't hear it in my voice, the passion that I had when I looked up into the sky and thought about, what it might be like to get to be in a career of aerospace hasn't diminished one bit. And in fact, I think through all the different activities that I've gotten to be involved in has probably grown brighter and brighter with just this awe and passion around the kinds of products that we do. And it fundamentally comes back to the complexity of the challenges that we get to solve every single day and being on the cutting edge of technology. So Austin, if you could go next. With that context, I'm going to segue just a bit. And I wanted to talk about, grand challenges. And I'm going to eventually link this back to some of the work that I've had the opportunity to do. But I really wanted to set the stage because I think, this perspective around the engineering grand challenges of the 21st century, and I know many of you on this call may be familiar with them. These were set by the National Academy of Engineering back in the 2008 timeframe. They're considered to be a collection of worldwide leaders that came together, and they're considered to be game-changing goals that were intended to improve life on the planet. And you can think of them in four basic categories: sustainability, health, security, and the joy of living. And to me, I think these challenges really get to the heart of what it means to be motivated as engineers, scientists, and technologists the most. They're really about solving hard problems that matter. And I'm guessing that folks in the audience, may be, again, familiar with this, and you may have already found your passion in some of these hard problems or challenges, or it may be for the scholarship award recipients, what has motivated you to choose a career in STEM and in engineering to go forward. And in fact, my son that I talked about a little bit earlier has really picked the field around economical energy. So without me even knowing it, really I think was inspired by some of the grand challenges of today and tomorrow. I thought one other one that I would reflect on before I would leave this page is at the bottom left. It talks about engineering better medicine. And, who could have thought in 2008 what it would have been like in 2020 and now still in 2021 with the pandemic, where all of us are anxiously, awaiting the vaccine and being able with the pandemic to return to normal life. But I think, this really does represent real life and mean something to all of us today with the importance of and the foresight that those great engineering leaders had to look forward into some of the things that we were going to need. And if I know for all of us, it probably feels like the distribution of the vaccine is taking too long. But if you stand back from, what has been accomplished and done in bringing a vaccine and getting it certified in the amount of time, it's pretty impressive. And I would dare to say that the work that was done and inspired by the grand challenges had something to do with how quickly that the scientists and technologists of the world have been able to solve that. So if we can go forward. So I'm going to get a little bit more specific now and talk about aerospace. And if you'll bear with me for just a minute, I'm going to reflect backwards first because I know that for everybody here, although some of the things that are on here are everyday life for us, aerospace as a field is not necessarily your first one. And so, aerospace first flight happened back in 1903, and it was a scant 60 years later from an innovation and technology perspective that we as a society in the United States were able to put a man on the moon. And I think it's truly amazing to think about some of the accomplishments that happened, just huge, major leaps and pace of technology that continued. Those are the big things that we talked about. But, even when I entered, which was clearly after some of the early events and that rapid pace of innovation, significant technology advancements that were happening and continuing to happen in the field of aerospace. And a couple that I just would reflect on that kind of ended the 20th century and were sort of at the cusp of, as I was joining the company, moving from a 3 to a 2-person flight deck, which happened in the middle of or at the beginning of the 767 program. The 767 program was actually designed and first airplanes built with a 3-person flight deck, and the technology advancements that were made, and frankly what the market needed, demanded a change. And the flight control systems and advancements that were there. And the other one that I would just reflect on is, when I came into the business, the 747 was the queen of the skies. Next year will actually mark the official retirement after, I think it's 50 some years of 747s. The last 747 will be built. And the 747 really was replaced because of the ability and the technology advancements that happened moving from 4 engines to 2-engine airplanes. And I just wanted to, reflect very quickly on, from a twin engine perspective, twin engine airplanes today have the capability of being over water and away from the closest airport with what we call a 330-minute extended twin operation. So that means that if a single engine goes out, that airplane is capable of flying for 330 minutes on that remaining engine to get to the nearest airport that it's at. That's the kind of technology, advancements that were happening throughout and really became common practice with the advancement of the 777, which was at the very beginning of my career. Now, enough about what was happening in the 20th century, because frankly, this is now all behind us, and it's really about, what's happening in the 21st century as we go forward. So Austin, if you don't mind, and could go to the next chart. I wanted to give you then a picture of, what do the grand challenges look like in aerospace for the next 5, 10, 15, 20, or even 100 years. And you see several things listed here. It ranges from what's going to be happening with our products. Where are we exploring? And it also ranges in how we design and how we manufacture our products. So today we all think about travel in terms of, commercial aircraft and where we go. In the background and in the R&D labs and the technology labs and, inside the Boeing company, people are really thinking about what kinds of disruptive mobility might change, the future of aviation in terms of both short and long haul, in terms of both, passengers flying on airplanes as well as cargo. And of course, a huge part of that is we're now on the cusp of the capability from an autonomous perspective. You can see several other things here, and of course, many of us working on additive manufacturing. I will talk in a minute, one of the big advancements that we've frankly made in additive manufacturing. We think about it in terms of what's still in front of us here in metals, but I'm going to talk a little bit about how we have started to use additive manufacturing in much different perspectives from a composites perspective, and specifically with the 787 airplane, which I had the honor to work on that program for about 5 years. So if we could go next. So all of that leads me into maybe giving you a little bit more specific insight. And you see on this page, several different reflections of some of the, what I consider to be some of the grand challenges. We like to think in engineering that everything goes right. I'm not going to talk about all of these in here, but each and every one of these is probably a story in and of its own of, some of the problems or challenges along the way after you get engineering off the drawing board and find out that things don't always go as planned the first time. But what I thought I would reflect on in a little bit more detail, just to give you an appreciation of some of the kinds of, engineering challenges that we've worked through at the Boeing company, is to talk a little bit about the 787 in particular. And I'm going to show a video in just a minute to give you, and it does get to what I was talking about before, which is around the process of composite manufacturing. But I'd like to set the stage for you just a little bit before I jump into that. The 787 was a pretty major technology shift. In fact, if anybody is familiar with Boeing, it wasn't just the technology of the airplane, but our business systems we radically made changes with. We made changes with how we actually designed and built the product using global partners around the world. And the 787 itself is the first commercial, we like to say all composite airplane. It's actually, when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, it's about 50% composite with quite a bit of titanium and some aluminum on the airplane too. But the way that we used to design and build aluminum airplanes, to try to keep this really simple, they were paneled. So we would build, sections of panels for fuselage sections. They would be individually riveted together to create, basically a half barrel, if you will. And then the two barrels would be joined together, and then each of the sections of the joined barrels would be hand riveted and joined together as well. The 787 really turned a new technology by moving to additive manufacturing with composites. And the composite process moved from those individual panel sections that I talked about to huge, what we called one-piece barrel fuselage sections. They're about 100 feet long. And in a minute you'll see it, but they were basically wound together over about 200,000 pound mandrels that fit just neatly inside of what the fuselage section was going to look like. And individual tape sections were laid to very prescriptive formations that were set by the engineering team. And so the barrel is wound and spun over a period of time. And this is probably a good point to just run the video. And so Austin, if you could click on that, and I'll pause for just a minute and let you see that. Okay, so just a little snippet or snapshot for you, but that particular section is actually built in one of our factories that's in Charleston, South Carolina. However, we actually had 6 different partners from around the world, some in Japan and in several other countries, as well as different states throughout the United States, that were all building separate sections of the airplane using that common process. The challenge from my perspective, I wasn't necessarily part of the original technology development. I came in after the original technology development had taken place. But like any good engineering challenge, some of the trials and tribulations, we weren't actually getting the output that we had initially planned to be able to support the production ramps that were happening in front of us. So, instead of 100% output, we were in the 15 to 20% output range. And if any of you know, we had some challenges, some other challenges. This was not just one of them, but one of the big challenges that we had. And we were pretty significantly, behind plan in delivering on our commitments to our customers. So my job at the time was working across all of those partners throughout the globe in what we called the Lean Global Production System, and working together to be able to, understand what it was going to take to be able to ramp up in production and be able to produce at the levels that we needed to produce. And I think, the interesting thing for me, and I'll just say for all engineers, we all, when we're in school and early on, we learn all of these theories. And through everything that you see on this page, it really was building blocks of information that helped me to learn, what it means really to take designs into production and, how do you drive producible designs. And that's the message I really want to leave to you. I can tell you over a period of 3 or 4 years, and many, many things, looking at the design requirements, looking at how we partnered with all of those different cultures and groups to, and frankly, companies that were originally competing with each other, to be willing to share their best practices and how do we, solve things that we are seeing in production so that we could start to standardize and stabilize the production processes. Over a period of 3 to 4 years, I had the honor of working with a very, very large team that ultimately ended up ramping the 787 up from 2 airplanes a month up to 12 airplanes a month. And I know for all of you that operate in some different businesses, those don't probably sound or feel like mass production rates. But when you're dealing with a product that weighs 250,000 pounds empty and is composed of 2 million different parts that come together, trust me, 12 airplanes a month is a pretty fast pace that it's moving through the production system, and we're delivering product. So I think that I will leave my grand challenge around that, and just tell you that probably over and over in my career, I have learned, relearned the lessons of moving from design into practical application, and the knowledge and the experience and the talent that it takes to do that. Those are the kinds of things that inspire me and continue to inspire me. And I could go all the way back to some of the very first things that I learned at Iowa State that, I've moved pretty far from maybe some of the daily engineering and detailed engineering, but I honestly use the critical thinking and the problem solving skills every single day. So if we can go next. I'm going to end on sharing with you what the 787 turned into and what it is today. I'll go ahead in a minute here and share a video with you, but let me just tell you a few other things about the 787. First of all, the airplane that you're going to see in this video is the second of 3 variants of the 787. It's the -9. The first was the -8, and we also have a -10. This was back in 2014 at the Farnborough Air Show. that I know doesn't mean probably as much to all of you, but it's one of two of the most prestigious air shows that happen in the industry. It's where our customers all show up to, and all the, original equipment manufacturers like ourselves, as well as suppliers, and frankly, where a lot of deals are made for future airplane programs, which happen to be in the billions of dollars. So a pretty major event that was taking place. And this was when the 787-9 was revealed to the world. This happens to just be a YouTube video. It's one that you all could go and look at, and it has millions of views. I happen to like it. It's my favorite video because what you'll see with the 787 and what was enabled with composites, this airplane really, truly, in my opinion, looks like a bird in flight. Composites have allowed this airplane to be more aerodynamically efficient than any other airplane. It was 20 to 25% more efficient than all of its competitors before it. It's allowed the inside of the airplane to be at a 6,000 foot cabin altitude versus an 8,000 to 9,000 foot cabin altitude of metal airplane. So you feel better when you fly in it. And in addition to all of that, this airplane, some of the other technologies, it's the first ever all electric architecture for power. In fact, a 787 can, the generators on a 787 can power a small city and of about 25,000 people. So that's probably enough. I'll roll the video and bring this to a conclusion. Okay, Austin, so I'll just say thank you for giving me this opportunity. And once again, congratulations to all of the award winners and scholarship recipients. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Kim. If you can please put questions in the chat, we'll have a few board members here to read them off as well. It'll take me just a minute to transition, but go ahead and start putting questions in. Thanks, everyone. Okay, we're ready for questions.
Okay, so just to start with, you mentioned the impact of your AP Calculus teacher and other role models. What do you think would be a key focus in getting more women into engineering?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think that we have to start earlier in the, in the K through 12 arena and really keep young girls' attention on engineering and STEM fields as a career path. I'll tell you, just statistically, one of the things, and Boeing for the first time ever in March is going to publish our global diversity and equity. And so some of the information I'll share here, I think will end up being part of that. But we have about 23% women and across the Boeing company. But although I'm happy with that we've got 23%, I won't be happy until it's equal and at parity to the 50% that we represent in society. And what we see is we tend to pull more people up into leadership positions, but that we've got to get people, we've got to get more young girls interested into coming into these kinds of fields. So I think it's the work that many of you are doing with First Lego League, and just making young girls continue to be excited, because they are when they're little, and it's that transition to those teenage years oftentimes that I think that we lose a lot of the population. And I think it's just going to take all of us working together. And I know, I'll just say, I'm passionate about it. I work with Iowa State closely. I actually sponsor scholarships specifically for women. We just have to keep going together and make young girls excited and want to do this field, because it's amazing.
Thank you. So, Kim, I'm going to ask another question that came from the audience. So what is the next major change for air travel, and from yours and maybe Boeing's perspective?
Yeah, no, it's a really great question. And, part of for a long time, we worked on farther and faster, and globalization has now really closed down the world. Faster is still out there, although supersonic and making supersonic economical is one of the potential things that we continue to look at, although we haven't solved all of the technology around that yet. And the other one really is more around that disruptive mobility, as we start to understand the ability of autonomous and more personal autonomous vehicles. As roadways get more congested, what might happen in terms of regional. So we think that some of the big changes that could be in the next 15, 20, or 30 years will be disruptors to what we consider the more regional markets, where it's long enough maybe to go by air today, but things like personal autonomous vehicles could start to change the dynamics of that. And that, can reshape not only, sort of the societies and the cities that we're in. We don't see that threat in the near term to, the transatlantic and transpacific kinds of the international kinds of routes. But frankly, there has been over the past probably 5 to 10 years, some pretty significant work going on in the company, as well as in other companies in the industry, really looking at some of the disruptive mobility. And that's in both the passenger segment as well as in the cargo segments of the world. We, the Boeing company, are the only airframe manufacturer that makes freighter versions of airplanes. Our primary competitor does not. And so, that's a market that we hold near and dear, and we're also working very hard trying to think our way through how might disruptive mobility first enter into the cargo segments of the market.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So we have another question from the chat. Any developments on cabin design related to safer travel in a COVID environment?
That's a really great question. Boeing actually led and participated with several airlines on what we called the Confident Travel Initiative. And some of the activities that you're seeing now, the electrostatic device that's out there that's being used to help clean cabins was developed in concert with some of our team. And so we absolutely see that as critical. And then the other piece that Boeing was heavily involved in, along with our airline partners, was really some of the work that you hear about more through the airlines in terms of the safety of flying today, with not only the cleaning of the cabins that's happening, and antimicrobial surfaces is another area that will continue to evolve and develop, but also helping to establish the safety of flying today through some studies that were done about transmission, or I'll say lack of transmission, for folks that have been flying. So those are the three areas.
Thank you. So another question from the audience. Where do you see the future of aerospace travel? Will it focus on speed, capacity, comfort, or something else?
I tell you, it's going to be a little bit of all of those things, but maybe a way to answer it today with today's relative technology. For us to develop an all new airplane is literally billions of dollars, and so for us to even break that threshold, we have to be able to either carry more capacity, payload for the airlines, or be able to be more efficient in the operation of the airplane itself by about 10 to 15% minimum. So you heard me talk about sort of the 787, when it was introduced, it was 20 to 25% more fuel efficient than the airplanes before it. And I'll tell you that, as we're watching technology, until we can solve some of the technology barriers that are there with supersonic travel, it's really going to be about continuing to drive that efficiency curve and being able to, being able to handle about 15% or more efficiency, steps that we're taking. And that's what we're trying to solve. If we've got a twin aisle airplane that, flies primarily cross transcontinental or, but a lot of very, very long international routes. And we've been able to solve for large scale composites how to make that economical in the wider and larger airplanes. But, still have some very successful products that are in the aluminum in the regional. So I think we're still trying to figure out and follow, where the next new airplane is going to be. But there's a couple of different vectors or paths that we can go on, but it's always about trying to get at least a 15% improvement in efficiency, unless we're able to really make that next big leap at speed.
Makes sense and very insightful. So we have some people in the chat asking about hyperloops and hoping that you might be able to give some perspective on whether that's realistic or a game changer or perhaps not even going to happen.
And I'm not sure that I'm going to be one that's going to be able to answer about hyperloops. I'm sorry, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be the good person that can do that.
Fair enough.
That's
first time
okay.
hearing of it too. So
that's okay. So we'll go on to another question. So the big news has been about the NASA Perseverance Mars mission, and the real question is, how will this impact Boeing or your business, and what's the timeline you think the impact will be?
Well, I'll tell you, maybe the way that I could talk about that is, a huge role that we're playing in the race, or maybe it's not, the race isn't the right word, but for human flight to Mars. The Boeing company is a significant player in NASA's program with the Space Launch System. And so, as another NASA partner, along with that, the work that's being done with Perseverance today, and then the joint work that we're doing to develop the Space Launch System, which will, do first non-human flight and then eventually do a human flight. It's all completely interrelated, and the research that's going on there extremely, extremely important. And I'll just say on a personal basis, I've only spent a couple of years of my career on the defense side. Although you saw that's kind of where, what got me into aerospace. I kind of landed on the commercial side, but I did have the opportunity a couple of years ago to go down to Michoud, which is outside of New Orleans, which is where they are building the Space Launch System. And I'll tell you, a 747 airplane, or in today's world, a 777 airplane is huge. The length of them, you can think about the size of football fields to give perspective. And when I went to see the Space Launch System, it is just massive. The technology that's going into that and the role that the Boeing company is playing. And, you can read an awful lot about that with NASA because we're a key partner with NASA, but I'm excited to see that. And, some of the big steps are coming up this year and into next year. So.
That's some amazing news. And on the same grain, we did have someone ask about commercial space flight on the horizon, and if you know anything about that.
So the other program that we have is Commercial Crew, which has been going through some testing and had some testing, I think, late last year, and as a result of some of that is making some adjustments. I don't know the exact timing of when their next test flights will be. But that, is designed to go to the International Space Station. Actually, when I was on the defense side doing some of the fabrication work, we were building some of the aft heat shields that were involved with the Commercial Crew shuttle. And so, as that one goes forward, that'll be another fun one to watch and be involved in, and that the Boeing company is sort of at the heart at. And one unique thing I'll say about the Commercial Crew is, there's portions of that that also will be reusable. Another, big step forward to start to allow, these are the first steps so that you can start to not just have missions every several years, but have reusable vessels that can go back and forth. And that's on the horizon too, whether it's 10 years away or longer than that. I'm probably not the one to say, but I can tell you that our world and the galaxy are both getting smaller.
Okay. One of your slides mentioned the 16G dynamic seats. Can you elaborate on what that is and tell us what we should be interested in relative to that?
Yeah, so, and this was pretty early in my career, back in the 90s, and it was one of my first early supervisory roles. Aircraft seats used to be tested statically, and they were tested to 9G requirements. So basically, you hang weights on them, and that was the level of testing that was done. And on the 777 aircraft, there were significant new regulations that have since rolled to all airplane programs that moved from the 9G static requirements to 16G dynamically tested seats. It was a massive change over in the industry that happened, one would think outside of our industry that, well, it's just a single seat, so you just go dynamically test it. Passenger seats are actually airline specified. They're unique to every single airline. They come in and they're what we call buyer furnished equipment. The airlines actually go and spec their seats with multiple seat suppliers. So we have about a dozen different suppliers around the world. So the complexity of that was working through, a major change and getting seats that could pass and meet a dynamic sled test, much like you would see in automotive. What is important to all of us is that was really the result of a major change in aircraft safety from an inside survivable crash. Because there were many crashes in the 80s or before where the event itself was survivable, but because the seats were not staying retained either at takeoff or landing, people were either injured or lost their lives. And so the significance of it really was right down to the heart of safety and how you can feel comfortable even flying in airplanes, even in significant events, and the lives that it saved.
Okay, so I think we're getting a little bit towards the end of our time. So just one final question to wrap up. So what do you see as your future with Boeing?
I've always lived with this philosophy of really whatever job I had at the time, doing it the best that I could possibly do it. And I think some of that is the work ethic, and I like to say the Midwest work ethic that I was brought up with. So I don't worry about or think about what the next role is I can have. What I've always focused on is, am I challenged in what I'm currently doing, and am I adding value? And what I've found is by focusing on that oftentimes you're given hard problems, and if you can solve hard problems, that they will continue to give you harder and harder problems. And so my career has probably been, a series of difficult and challenging problems. And I would say, if you asked me, what I desired, it's regardless of what level I end up in the company, that I continue to, contribute and solve hard and challenging problems, and get to do them with an amazing team of people.
Kim, thank you very much for a great presentation, and we really appreciated the answers you gave us. And everybody on the chat, please show your appreciation to Kim. And we've only got a few more minutes left. Pat Barnes is going to finish up the evening for us.
Thank you very much, Kim.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Definitely sympathize with problems and challenging situations.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kim, for your excellent presentation. We're honored to have had you join us, and it's really awesome the size of challenges that you've dealt with. So as I mentioned in the chat, and as Dan mentioned, we're going to dive into about 5 or 6 minutes more here as Pat talks us through upcoming events, and then we'll be all wrapped up. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thanks, Austin. As mentioned, I'm Pat Barnes, Director Emeritus with the Quad City Engineering and Science Council. Behind me is an example of one of the many amazing annual STEM events organized by the QCSC that were impacted by COVID-19. In this case, a First LEGO League qualifier in Moline. Before wrapping up our event, I'm happy to make you aware of 3 fun upcoming STEM events with the QC Tech Challenge. In addition, I'll share information on ways you can get connected and involved with the QCSC. The QC Tech Challenge is in its 12th season with a series of 3 competition STEM events for high school teams, including Battle of the Bridges, Trebuchet Egg Throw, and Cardboard Boat Regatta. Along with lots of fun and real-world hands-on learning that participants get, we provide trophies and medals for the top 3 teams in each of the events, along with the most innovative design. Teams and individuals that place in the top 10 at each of the events receive points. We then total up the points from the 3 events, with the top overall scoring high school receiving a traveling trophy, and the top individual receiving an award and a $1,000 STEM scholarship offer. For the Battle of the Bridges competition, teams of up to 4 people use provided wood materials to design and construct a bridge. The bridge is load tested until it fails, with the winner being the bridge with the greatest structural or build efficiency, which is load divided by the bridge weight. Along with high school students, the Battle of the Bridge competition is open to all ages of participants, with separate categories for middle school, high school, and family adult teams. There's still time for the event to register, with the deadline tomorrow, Friday, February 26th at noon. As noted, there's no pre-work required, with all the necessary materials provided and tools available that can be checked out. In light of COVID-19, the event has been redesigned such that the teams will pick up their box of materials and optional tools either tomorrow on Friday, February 26th, or Saturday the 27th at the Putnam Museum. The teams then have a week to build their bridge off-site and drop it off at the Putnam on March 5th or March 6th. The bridges will then be load tested by our amazing volunteers, with the event telecast live on Saturday, March 6th, with no attendees allowed in person. The second event is the Trebuchet Egg Throw competition, scheduled for Friday, April 16th. High school teams of 3 to 8 students design and build trebuchets to launch raw eggs at targets at 3 specified distances. In addition, they give a presentation to a panel of QCSC judges. The event will be held outdoors following CDC guidelines at Bettendorf High School. We will be looking for a few volunteers to support the event. Further information on this event will be posted on the QCSC website with registration for teams and volunteers in the next couple of weeks. The third event is a cardboard boat race scheduled for Friday, May 14th. High school teams design and construct 1 or 2 person boats made completely from cardboard. At the event, the teams will then have a time trial to race their cardboard boats approximately 600 yards, with the goal to have the lowest time. The event is tentatively scheduled to be held at the Bettendorf Middle Park Lagoon. This is a very fun event to come watch, with sometimes unexpected results, with up to over 50% of the boats sinking before making it around the course. High school STEM teachers and STEM professionals are also welcome to compete separately. Here on the slide, you see on the right a picture of Dan Rexler from Bettendorf High School, a past QCSC STEM Teacher of the Year, competing and obviously having lots of fun. If you'd like to get connected or involved with the QCSC, please consider several options, including visiting our website at www.qcsc.org, which has lots of great info that's updated regularly, including a calendar of events and a link to subscribe to receive email updates with our newsletter. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on LinkedIn, or attend one of our monthly meetings, which are the third Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Time and are currently virtual, and everyone is welcome to attend. On behalf of the QCSC Board of Directors, I would like to thank you for attending our event. You'll be receiving an email with a link to a survey to provide your input on the event and indicate if you want to be further involved. I would also like to thank our very special keynote speaker, Kim Pastega from Boeing, our sponsors, and a big congratulations to our 2021 scholarship and award winners. And finally, I wanted to thank the entire QCSC Board of Directors who have worked well together to make this virtual event a success. In my nearly 30 years with the QCSC, they are one of the best Board of Directors I have had the pleasure of working with. We look forward to seeing you next year in person, as it'll be our 60th annual QCSC STEM Celebration. We're starting to make plans for supporting an extra special event and special year, and we hope you'll join us. So good night and be safe.